Hello, Sabrina.
Hi,
Hi.
Irina.
Good to see you here. And hello, everyone who is joining us today for the LinkedIn and YouTube Live. We are going to talk about social media and how to grow the business with social media in 2021 and beyond. Sabrina, we are not going to introduce you because I think our audience knows you. And everyone, of course, is welcome to check you on your profile or check your Instagram, Hot Hospitality Exchange. And we have only 30 minutes, so we go straight to the questions. And if anyone has questions as we go along, as well as comments, please share with us in the comments below. Okay, so today's topic is how to grow your web business on social media in 2021 and beyond. Last year has been crazy, to say the least, and we all connected online. We built communities, and community will be quite in the focus of what we're going to talk about today, but we are going to talk also about other things and platforms. So first things first, which platforms are in right now and which platforms are out?
That's a good question, isn't it? And look, there is no doubt that there are a ton of social media platforms out there at the moment. And I think the best way to answer the what is in and what is out question is it really just depends on what audience you're trying to reach with your brand and with your business. Where is your audience based? What are they using so that you can effectively market to them? Now, in our industry, I would say that the platforms that are used the most, I mean, number one is definitely the platform that we are on right now, which is LinkedIn. It has literally, I want to say, gone up 400% in terms of community engagement, posts, and people just using the platform and being very, very present and active on the platform. And it really has become a real thought leadership driven vehicle and a real force in the B2B marketing side of things is what I think, especially in our industry. Second, I would say it's kind of here and there, but I think Twitter is still very, very strong a platform for our industry. There's so many people and brands that are on Twitter. And it's such a wonderful serendipitous platform that people can use. And you can do so much and reach so many individuals through it. So I think that's definitely still a strong one. And then, of course, there's the Instagram versus TikTok game, right? Now, TikTok is still, I think, for our industry, the jury is still out, but it is by no means and no doubt that it is a very, very strong platform out right now. They themselves have invested, millions in marketing, and
they just sponsored the Euro, so
exactly.
it was
And
quite innovative.
you've seen the TikTok logo everywhere, right? When you're watching, they're everywhere. So they're a force to be reckoned with for sure. But whether you want to use them for your business, that's completely dependent on different factors. And then there's Instagram and Facebook. I love Instagram. Instagram for business is a fantastic tool, again, depending on who you want to reach and what you want to do, what your content is. And I would say the last is Facebook. Look, I don't use Facebook personally, but it is a fantastic tool for community and to have groups and to cultivate and grow a group, for example, like the Delicate Wranglers, who've done a phenomenal job on the platform. It's a brilliant platform. So I would say those are the big ones, but also industry specific wise, if you're in gaming, Twitch is huge. If you are into audio, Clubhouse was massive. I think it's still massive. It's just not massive anymore, maybe on this side of the world in the events industry, but it's still going strong in the US, for example. And then there's Discord, which is like Clubhouse's younger brother.
There is definitely, I think there was a big hype with Clubhouse. There were sessions every day, a couple of times per day, and then suddenly it disappeared. It's still going strong. I see people thriving on this platform.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to be more intentional about this platform. You need to schedule a conversation that people actually intentionally go on Clubhouse. Before it was a bit of like a discovery. You open the app and you say, oh, there's a discussion going on about events, and you join it.
Yeah.
Like in a very serendipitous way.
Serendipitous way. Exactly.
And that doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, which actually I loved about this platform.
Yeah.
So like the platforms which are in, to wrap it up: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, platforms are TikTok, platforms are out, potentially Clubhouse. Perhaps we'll see a comeback. A lot of the platforms mentioned are also having now their audio. So Twitter Spaces, Facebook. I've seen now recently when I opened the apps, they have now also an audio conversation option. So it's a very, very dynamic place right now. So we need to pay attention. Okay, so since we are talking about the platform, if you had to use only one platform for your business for the rest of 2021 and beyond, let's say 22, what would it be?
That's a really hard question, just because, and I'm going to take this from my angle because that's what I've been doing for the last 18 months. You cannot just use one platform. I know that's a horrible answer. So I'm going against everything, right? But if you ask me what would be the main platform I use, and it's supported by other ones,
the
only, gosh, it would be a tie between, it would be LinkedIn. I would pick LinkedIn purely because of the B2B reach and possibilities for our industry and the target audience that I want to reach. It is not a creative platform. It doesn't allow you to get creative. You have to really get creative on your own with the content that you make to put onto the platform. But aside from that, it's if you are more of a creative person and your content is going to be very video, and you want to use filters and get really engaging, then LinkedIn isn't necessarily going to be able to provide those features. But it's definitely a solid one that I'm just not going to get rid of for a long while. And secondary to LinkedIn, I would follow up with Instagram.
Okay, so I want to ask our audience right now, if you could choose just one platform, what platform would it be? For in my case, that would be Twitter, because I have the Event of Stock Twitter chat every week, and it generates amazing in-depth conversation and networking. So I don't want to give it up. I use it mostly on a Monday and a little bit throughout the week, but main day is very consistent. So I can be very consistent, which you also, Sabrina, I think you always say, you have to be consistent, So that's my consistency, that I'm accountable also to have the Twitter chat every Monday night.
Exactly.
Let's come back to the audio. And Heidi, she commented, all the audio platforms have inspired us to up our game in terms of audio engagement during events. I see that as a huge positive. Absolutely. I think there were also many discussions how you can enhance your event experience with all the audio platforms. For example, having pre-event session on Clubhouse, and then having like a VIP speaker session with the speakers on Clubhouse. So it's like not official part of the event, but the community is moving there and having these conversations. So, for example, the Web Summit, I attended it I think it was in December last year, and there was a Clubhouse session, so about like what to expect and everything. So it was really, really cool. Let's see what Johnny says. He says, I'd pick LinkedIn as the only platform if I had to choose.
Yeah.
And Heidi, no, don't make me choose. I would be between Instagram and LinkedIn for me, and LinkedIn being the wiser choice. So yeah, that's a good choice that we are live streaming this session today on LinkedIn. Because
yeah, absolutely.
We used to do it on Instagram during the peak of COVID last year. We had our weekly demise exchange sessions on Instagram Live.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah, so like during the height of the lockdown, then we stopped, but it was very, very good, I would say. But now we are not doing it on Instagram anymore. We also moved and evolved, and we are doing it on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Let's see what Johnny adds about Twitter. I love Twitter for personal purposes, but definitely LinkedIn when it comes to lead generation for business.
Absolutely.
Very interesting. I must say that Twitter also works very well for me. I get client requests via DMs asking me for my email and what's the best way to contact me.
Yep.
So Twitter remains my number one, but second one would be then LinkedIn. Okay, let's go to the third question. What does event business growth mean to you in 2021?
Good question. Event business growth. For me, growth is about reach. So it's about finding and using the platforms and creating the content that's going to reach who I need it to reach and build that community of the people I want to reach. So it's about reach, engagement, and community. So the platforms that are going to give me those three things are the ones that are going to, to me, define growth for event businesses, So that's how I would define it. What about you, Irina?
Yeah, so definitely community. That's, I think, the key word that we've been speaking about in the past year or so. Community, that it's not about sales anymore. You can't just come on social media and say, this is my product, buy my product. And it's about communities. It's about genuinely engaging with the members. And we have Heidi on the chat, who is
amazing at that.
Exactly, amazing at that, and has the hashtag emocurrency. That's like connecting with the audience on a more emotional level, helping with issues like as burnout or managing the work-life balance better. So these are the topics that we also want to talk about, like as individuals. It's not just about business, about sales, but also how we're doing on the day-to-day life. So I think that's been a very powerful driving force throughout the past year, and it will also grow in the next year. And then we also can talk about the micro tribes, which is you have the community, for example, of the event professionals, and then you have a little group of event professionals who just connect a bit deeper on, let's say, on a WhatsApp group or on an Instagram chat. So again, it's your community, it's your tribe. You support each other. What, for example, something that came up quite a lot in the past months is that if someone is speaking at the event, you would go to this event to support the speaker. You might not even care about the big name or the agenda. You would be just at the session supporting your speaker, your community member. So this is what I call business growth, the community, the relationship that you can strengthen with your members.
Absolutely.
I would invite anyone listening to this conversation now also to tell us what business growth meant to you in 2021. Okay, so we are moving to the next one. And what type of content can help an event business grow?
That's a very good question. Probably the number one question I get asked is, it is content related. And I think that, I actually read a tweet this morning, which I thought was really, really relevant, right? And it said that, in 2011, content was, just something you did, that you put out there. And now content is it. Like, content is what's going to get you the value. It's what's going to get you the community. It's what's going to get you the engagement. We're paying for content now, and there's been this shift. And I think for event businesses, it's really about identifying how you can demonstrate your expertise and your thought leadership in your specific area of service, right? So if you are an incentive travel agency, then your content should not just be aspirational images and videos of what you can do, but you need to dig down deep on why you're doing these trips. How do they connect, the dots? You need to be talking about mental health and well-being and why you specifically chose this particular activity, because how does it activate the brain of the attendees? And really, you got to dig deep now. It's no longer surface level. Content now is about deep dives. It's about really coming up with that perspective where it's going to resonate with your audience, and they're going to say, oh my God, I didn't even think about that, but that makes complete sense. And these guys really sound like they know what they're talking about, and I'm going to use them to do my next incentive travel trip, right?
That's a very interesting point what you bring up now, that you say you need to go in depth. But what Instagram shows us, what TikTok shows us, is that you need to get your message in 15, 30, 60 seconds or less, because you will lose your audience. So I'm also all pro long research content, which I also find the blog the perfect platform for this. My blog, the Mice blog, and a chat like we're doing today, a live chat with kind of more in-depth insights. But like in the creator community, those who love the cinematic content, creating videos, and then you have TikTok and Instagram Reels that ask you to do it in 30 seconds.
And this is a very good point that you bring up. And this is where I will always tell anyone that has that perspective that in these instances, TikTok and Instagram are your hook platforms, right? They're not the be all and end all of everything that you're doing. They're ways that you use to catch people's attention and bring them into where you're really at, right? So for you, you've got your blog, you've got the vlogs on YouTube, right? These are your masterpieces. These are your master key pieces of content, right? TikTok and Instagram are the ways that you can repurpose the long form content and give snapshots to people of what you're about, and kind of, I would say subliminally build that thought leadership and what you're about, and bring them into your world of then going to your blog, reading blogs, then going to your YouTube channel, reading the YouTube, visiting your LinkedIn page, or reaching out, sending you a DM to find out more how they can work with you, right?
Yeah.
And it's really now become a case of how are you using the different platforms in this perfect jigsaw puzzle that's going to funnel perfectly to lead the audience where you need them to go in order to get that sale, to work with you, or to find out more information, or to read what it is you're putting out there, So it's not kind of the end all or be all, is what I want to say.
Yeah. We have Robert, who is sharing content or rapid co-creation that develops a new product or prototype. And I want to give an example of a hackathon, which we did in October and in April. It was a very cool idea that we did the hackathon for the Event Planners Talk. And we had to come up with a business plan to support an event agency to go through the COVID period and what new services they can develop. And the other hackathon was about creating sales and marketing plan for an events agency. So it was like 24 hours hackathon, we used Slack for this, the platform. And going back to the first question about the platforms which are now growing, so for example, Slack, which is it's a platform which is for co-creation, collaboration, and also Discord, which is also now I hear it's a bit taking over over Slack, especially for the creative communities.
Yeah.
It comes from the gaming communities. Again, it's like for collaboration, for sharing files, for sharing videos, calls, and this bash even had article about Discord being used for events. So I will then share this article on this thread on LinkedIn. So yeah, these are also like a bit of a platform overview.
And I read actually yesterday, I think it was just published, not even, probably a few hours ago, this morning I read that Salesforce is going to be buying Slack, right? So that's huge.
Yeah.
And they are positioning themselves to be the Netflix for business, which is
I
a
love
bold,
Slack.
bold move,
I love
right?
it, yeah.
So it's very interesting where the world is going. And
collaboration, community.
Exactly. But also how the social media platforms, in essence, are the ones that are treading that path and showing, the bigger businesses and brands, how consumers are, how they're taking information, how they're using information, how they're communicating, how they love using short form video, how they love using audio. It's through the successes of the different social media platforms and the different, vertical video and all these things, which have been created by social media platforms that are now being taken in by bigger brands like Salesforce, like Hopin, like any virtual event platforms, right? And they're just, I guess, for lack of a better word, evolving into something bigger and better. So, and if it wasn't for these platforms, we probably wouldn't have these integrations and this kind of evolution, right? For any of these bigger brands and businesses. So it's very interesting to see them lead the way in that path.
Yeah, and going back to the content, Robert adds, innovate or solve a problem that people didn't know existed. So that's a very helpful tip to start creating content, because people discover you through content by you solving their problems.
Absolutely.
Okay, so next question: personal or brand account? So should you post from your personal account as Sabrina, or you should post as Hot Hospitality Exchange and have your logo as your profile? What are your thoughts about this? And should there be a face, or it's the logo and the brand?
I think this is something a lot of us event professionals ask ourselves. I think it's been going on since the early days. It's something that always comes up in conversation. I'm very clear about keeping the two separate because whilst there might be overlap, they're just things that are not relevant that, that I put on my personal, and people that I'm connected to that are not interested in content that I would put up on my work. So for me to bring the two together makes no sense. If you are an event professional and your main purpose, and I'm going to bring it back down to purpose, intent, and value. Irina knows this is it, right? I've now come up with my own acronym of VIP content, okay? It's VIP. You heard it here first. It's about value. It's about intent. It's about purpose. Now, if your purpose as an event professional and you're an event manager working for a corporate event agency, you have your Instagram account and it's about your life as an event professional. And that could be you experiencing the latest restaurant. It could be you going on holiday and how you completely switch off. It could be about you doing a site inspection. But that it's the be all and all of your life. And so it's okay. That's your purpose. That's the intentional content that you're creating. And the people that follow you find that interesting. And what you're putting out there is of value to them. So that makes sense if you want to combine it. Absolutely. But if you are like yourself, Irina, and me, we are brands. I'm Hot Hospitality Exchange. You're the Mice blog. What we do is very different from our personal lives and our personal selves and what we are as brands and what our purpose is that we want to relay through our brands and through our social media platforms is very different. I'm very intentional about the content that I put on Hot Hospitality Exchange because it has to be relevant, has to make sense, it has to resonate, and it has to be of value to whoever is following me. If it's not, then it makes no sense to be on there. And this is why I keep it separate.
There is a podcast by Tim Ferriss, and he interviewed Seth Godin once. And Seth Godin, he said, I think authenticity is overrated because I don't want my doctor, I don't want my lawyer to be authentic. I come to them for the advice, for the expertise. I don't come to them for them being authentic.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of truth.
And again, because the topic is event businesses, right? So if you're an agency, we're talking about businesses and organizations. If you're a business, if you're a brand, so a person can also be a brand, but let's put that aside, set that aside. I think both of us are people that are brands. It's an interesting one there. But if you are an organization, if you're an agency, if you're a convention bureau, if you are a hotel, you're an entity, right? So there is no personal. What you're putting on there is what you want your, what you want your audience to understand about the services you deliver, the expertise that you have, the thought leadership that you're building, what it is that you're marketing, what are your services, what do they lead to, all of that, it's all that good stuff. So there should never really, even in this instance, be a question of personal versus professional, because it should be professional. But if you are, like I said, an event professional who is wanting to build their personal brand and they want to cultivate and create, and then turn that into a business somehow, then yes, you have to think about that. You have to think about, okay, I eventually want to turn this account into something that's going to bring me business. It's going to help me with my business. I want to be able to effectively market and sell the services that I'm going to be doing, whether it's coaching or whether it's, supporting mental health or, diversity. But if you've got 40% of your content, which is about your pet or, I don't know, your hobby, which could be, I go swimming all the time, or I love watching this movie and movies and all, and it's not really relevant and related, you're going to struggle to really push it through for it to become an actual B2B platform for you, to market and, get what you need that platform to get. So that would be
I think, I agree with you. I think you need to be very careful what you share on the private side. And if you want to be positioned as an expert on an area which is completely unrelated to what you do in your private life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start wrapping up with the last question. And if anyone has any comments or questions, don't hesitate to ask. That's your chance now, or of course later on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, any other platforms where we're present.
We are everywhere.
But Sabrina, you went on holidays for 2 weeks, right? And then when you came, you just populated the whole social media.
So you do it. You just went right back in.
You came back and you dropped it, catching up on all the questions and sharing your own posts. That was really felt, I must say. Yeah. So how do you measure?
I love that. Thank you for that feedback. Actually, I appreciate that, because this is kind of to show people that just because you might fall off the face of the earth for 10 days, it doesn't mean you can't just go right back in there. And I'll tell you, Irina, the reason why it was felt is because I spent that time cultivating that community and that, that audience and the followers and that network where I just slipped right back into it. And, it wasn't as hard as it might be if you are always inconsistent. So it helps.
Yeah. So you missed us and we missed you on social media. We have a question from John. TikTok is getting traction where more business owners are using it. What is your opinion?
Well, I love TikTok. I think even Irina, you're saying, I want to use it more. I think it's a fantastic platform. I actually use it. I think it's a fantastic platform for service-based businesses and product-based businesses. So whatever, whether you're product or service-based business, there's so many ways that you can do TikToks. You don't have to do funny dances. You don't have to do weird voiceovers. But there's so many creative ways where you can think outside the box and use, short form video in order to drive your message across. And it allows you to get so creative with all the trends and the different things that you can use. And it's definitely investing a lot in itself, by opening TikTok for Business. There's now TikTok Europe. They really are taking the marketing world by storm. And I think that it's definitely one to watch out for and potentially invest in.
Yeah, I like the section of TikTok which is about EduTalk, like hashtag EduTalk, educational content, and you can find all the STEM subjects like mathematics, engineering, all this, and then just create educational videos about your industry. So I did a couple of them about events. So for example, like this trend of like pointing out like tick 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 tick, like for example, I think I did it like
for the TikTok challenge, right? We had like a TikTok challenge, or there was something we did.
The digital festival, we had a TikTok challenge, which we had 5 different challenges. And for example, this trend where you kind of point out on like all the lists, for example. So like, for example, what the new qualities of the event manager that you need in 2021, and you show like community management, event tech support, whatever. And these are kind of the TikToks that resonate with me. And I wish I would have more time to do it.
And it is. It's a micro-learning platform. I tell everyone.
Exactly, micro-learning. Yeah.
It's micro-learning. And this popped into my head as we were talking, right? Remember, and you might remember this, Irina, I did literature in junior college and in high school, in university, and we had like something called Shakespeare's Notes. Do you remember Shakespeare's Notes?
I don't.
So Shakespeare's Notes was like a little booklet that basically summarized the Shakespeare books and all the literature that you would read, and everyone would try to get the Shakespeare notes because they didn't want to think for themselves, and they wanted everything summarized and put it all into short form. So TikTok is kind of like the digital Shakespeare's notes for anyone that's trying to micro learn something, right? Whatever it is, like Irina said, you've got STEM topics, digital marketing, how to sell on Amazon.
Digital marketing is huge, like how to trade. You can find like how to trade, how to
Forex,
save money, how to
Bitcoin. It's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a huge potential. I wish I had more time for this. At the moment I don't, but maybe in the future.
Well, it's still around. It's going to be around for a while, I reckon. So
I'm the mice blog on TikTok in case anyone wants to connect.
Exactly.
We have a question from Naomi, who is, by the way, successfully using TikTok, I think, and very, very good. Go and check her out. Naomi, please share your handle for TikTok in the comments. How do you use YouTube in your social media strategy, if you do at all? Thanks. Great convo today. Thank you.
Very, very good question, Naomi. I know that Irina, with the Event Planners Talk and Mice blog, is really wanting to push out more YouTube content. Look, I think YouTube is a phenomenal platform. I actually don't think of YouTube as a social media platform. I think of it as a media platform. It is literally the #1 platform in terms of Google search and ranking. And there's any kind of marketing that you want to do. If you want something seen, do a YouTube video. Make sure you use the right keywords. So I think YouTube is definitely going to be something I am going to be focusing more on. I've always been on YouTube. Everyone knows me from YouTube. I started my career and brand of Hot Hospitality Exchange on YouTube with my YouTube channel, Hot Hospitality Exchange. It's what kept me going, I would say, through the last 18 months with Event Profs from home, Event Profs What's Next, Together What's Next. So, for me, it's been a very important part of my strategy. And I do want to continue. Here's a tip for anyone that wants to start doing easier and consistent content on YouTube. You can now do YouTube Shorts, right? And it's the same as Instagram stories. It's the same as TikToks. It's actually also a fantastic way to get your content being seen on YouTube. So look up that. You can create like little videos, I think up to a minute or 30 seconds on YouTube. And it's a great way to get small bites of, content that you're already creating, for example, in short form video, out into the wider World Wide Web. But yeah, for me, YouTube is definitely something I will be concentrating to get more content on. So I cannot fault it.
Yeah. Sabrina, thanks a lot for mentioning that, like from our previous conversation offline, that I do want to grow my presence on YouTube. And it's not just from the social media strategy perspective, it's from general business monetization perspective, because you can monetize YouTube. And there is a huge debate within the creator community, creators potentially leaving Instagram because Instagram offers too little too late for content creators who are spending so much time and energy on creating original content on Instagram and not able to monetize it. So I am moving my business slowly on YouTube because I think it has a huge potential reaching the target audience, because it's also owned by Google. So any search term leads straight to your channel. And as soon as you hit certain targets in terms of number of followers or the views, you can also monetize this channel. And this has been there all the time.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing. So and of course, things like today, especially for educational content, I think it's very important. If you want, I know that like in the consultancy and coaching business, if you want to offer some free content, so you have your pre-recorded presentation like today or a live stream, and then you can send your audience there and say, I have free resources. You can check them out on YouTube.
It's a great way to archive your content library. I use it all the time to upload all my long form videos and share the links for all my social media campaigns, influencer marketing campaigns. All the content goes onto my YouTube channel as well. So, it's the shareability on YouTube is incredible. So, that cannot be faulted. And that's one of the most important things as well.
Yeah. Naomi, she mentioned the Creator Fund. Definitely it exists on YouTube. It exists for sure on TikTok and on Instagram. I think it exists only for certain creators who have a certain amount of followers. It's not for everyone. About YouTube, unfortunately, I'm not sure about it, because I know YouTube offered good creators to monetize their content since many, many years. So I would check it out after this stream, and we can touch base on this later. And it's a great topic, because yes, the platforms now realize that they are fighting for the attention of creators, right?
Yeah,
you can say, I want to be on LinkedIn. Like, for example, now why LinkedIn is not offering the Creator Fund, for example, to monetize live streams? Why not? And Instagram, it's like you spend so much time. You have Instagram Live, you have guides, you have reels, you have stories, you have your feed, and so far you were not able to monetize none of this. And so if creators see that they're not getting the value from a platform, they will just move quickly to a platform, and potentially there will be a new platform in the future. So but like all this creator discussion is like for a different for another day. So let's wrap up now with the last question about how to measure. How do you measure growth, and what metrics matter the most for you?
So for me, it's predominantly engagement, reach, and if I am actually growing with relevant followers. So I could pick up, say, 20 followers on Instagram, right? But if I look at their profiles and they're people that I know that will never produce anything, that growth doesn't really mean anything. But if I pick up 10 followers and I see that 5 of them are, engaging with my account, they've commented, and then, I get direct messages going, hey, that sounds really cool. I'm interested in working with you, that to me is an analytic that, definitely makes sense when it comes to followers. So even though you track follower growth, depending on the kind of account you are and what your, I guess, goals are at the end of the day, that's how you kind of figure out if the follower growth make sense or makes the cut for analytics or it doesn't. But definitely engagement. I always am very happy when people are commenting, when people are responding to the questions I'm asking and things like that. And also reach, how many people have seen it? Is my content being shared? Is it being saved? I think these are all really important analytics as well. But again, it depends. It's very different platform to platform, and every platform has their own native analytics. So it just really depends, what do you want to achieve with each specific platform, and then you customize what are the analytics that you want to hit, because what's going to make sense for you, because just because you say you want to, growth to you is increasing followers by 10%, is that really making a difference anywhere else? Is that increase in followers also increasing your engagement? Is it allowing you to get leads? Because if it isn't, then it's kind of an empty metric. So it's really trying to figure out what your end goal is, and then reverse engineer what you want to be tracking per platform, and then kind of, come up with a report. And, I answer this with my social media clients, the ones whose accounts that I manage. They're always like, oh, can you send through a report at the end of the month? And I said, I can, but it depends what specifically you want to achieve and why. And if you're telling me you want to have 30,000 new followers just because you want to grow, because you just want the numbers, then, I'll put it there, but it makes no sense to me. So,
yeah, I think for me, that would be the actual number of bookings, of clients, of leads. Exposure, I think, there's another big debate in the industry about exposure. If you speak at an event, do you get an exposure? If you work with an influencer, do you get an exposure? Exposure, it's a bit of a word that we don't like to use so much anymore, exposure. So yeah, it's like really down to business. Like, do you get business leads? Do you meet new people? Like, do new people actually discover your account? Do people discover your content? Which can be done with hashtags, for example, which is also Instagram pushing right now, that it's becoming like to get into the explore page.
Yeah.
So for me, that would be the final bottom line that is measurable in financial terms. But of course, it's important to get engagement as well, and see who has viewed your profile, and then I would say like also measure it on the micro level, like see what works, and then like do more of it. So see what platforms get you like the most engagement or the most conversion, and then do more of it. So for example, that's why the Twitter chat, like I have it since 2014. Like there were like months when I said, okay, I want to make a break, but then I make this break, and then like I see my business like a bit like flat, like what happens?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, I didn't have the Twitter chat, so let's get back to the Twitter. And that's why I'm so pro Twitter, because it works.
But it's something that you've built, and because you've done it so consistently, there's a community there that has, they know about it, they tell people about it. You're always having great Twitter chats on very relevant topics, and so it's become so ingrained and so connected or associated to you that if you didn't do it, it would be odd, because it's almost become one of your value propositions.
And it's so simple, it's so simple. Like, and then you can talk about video and all this content, the new forms of content, but then you just go back to basic. And I think we can conclude this chat with just stay true to yourself. Do what works for you.
Do what works for you. Don't force yourself to do things you don't want to do. Don't be
stressed if Instagram prefers now short form video content, because if it doesn't work for you, just leave it. Don't stress about it.
Because if you force yourself to do content that you're not enjoying making, it's gonna show. it shows.
Yeah.
And if you are creating great, there have been amazing event professionals and brands and businesses that have done so well on LinkedIn, and they don't use anything except words. And words are powerful, and that's at the end of the day, baseline is, if it doesn't resonate with the audience that you want it to resonate with, what are you doing at all with your content? It doesn't matter if you make it into a fun video. It doesn't matter if you make it into a carousel or whatever it is. If it doesn't resonate, your audience doesn't find it of value, then there's no point, So stick to what you do best. If there are things that you enjoy, if you have a way with words, use the platforms that allow you to use your way with words. Or use platforms to support and redirect everyone to your blog where you can tell people with words. On LinkedIn, you can write articles, use your words. If you are more creative like me, you like video content, you find it easier to express what you want to say through video content, then use video content. And if you're struggling to turn your short-term into longer videos into smaller ones, then that you can always learn up on. We've pretty much, I think me and Irina have pretty much learned everything that we need to learn on YouTube. You can do it yourself as well. So, it is that.
Yeah. Okay, Sabrina. So I think we need to wrap up right now, but there will be definitely follow-up because we have a great question from Yaroslav, which will just get into the next live stream, and we will start the live stream with this amazing question. Would you agree with this? Do not spend time on things and actions on social media that can't be measured. That's an amazing question. So yeah, but you will have to wait for the answer because we will think about it very well how to answer it as well. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and stay tuned for the next date. So we will be back.
Thank you, everyone.
Sabrina.
Thank
Bye.
You,
Thank you.
Bye.